it's happening, right? Let's do not go against, let's learn.
And fortunately, we are looking at setting examples.
There, we have to adapt as a culture rather than looking at it as a...
May I now request Mr. Viju Nair and Mr. George Verghese on the stage. Please join us. Mr. Viju Nair is a seasoned healthcare professional with over 25 years of experience currently serving as Business Unit Director at Galderma, driving growth in therapeutic dermatology and OTX. Mr. Nair excels in business transformation, brand building, and people development with a strong focus on margin improvement and strategic growth. Thank you for joining us today, sir. Mr. George Verghese, Senior General Manager at Alchem Laboratories, is a dynamic business leader with a proven track record of driving market-leading growth and category turnarounds. With expertise in P&L management, strategic marketing, and digital transformation, his leadership extends to major restructuring initiatives, innovations, and people development. Thank you for being with us here today, sir. The session that Oscar will be moderating now is going to be a very interesting one because the topic of discussion has not been revealed in the agenda. The organizing team is not aware of it. It's our esteemed moderator who's going to drive the discussion. So we're all here, sir. Thank you so much. And we look forward to what's next.
Okay. So these are the smart guys in the room. I'm going to ask the questions. I'm going to be very wise. And we agreed before we're going to go for speeches, but we'll have a good conversation. And they might ask you a few questions too, which is interesting. So what I would like now is to go a bit deeper and to bring this to the, I don't want this to keep it here, right? As I bring into the reality, as I said to, okay, so what? I walk out of the room, if I'm a pharma marketeer, so what? So let me start with the first one, okay? I'm going to ask a few questions here, okay? So we're talking about a number of things that seems they're, changing, they're game changers, they're triggers. Whether it's e-pharmacy, ICP-MP that we had the session before, Q-commerce, etc. Okay? Who wants to start as in, is that a friend or is that an enemy we need to be careful of?
So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Swati, also putting me on board. And one of the most difficult session. Thank you for sharing those slides, at least in the morning, so I could go through the slides. So all the views and opinions which we have, it's my personal, so nothing to do with the company. So I'll go directly with the question which has been put. So from morning, we've been hearing some great speakers, and all of them have touched upon all this part. So one of the biggest learning me as a marketer, because the room is filled with 70% marketeers I can see, is we have to be agile and adapt. So it is a friend. I can't see it as a foe. I'll see all these platforms, whether it is e-pharmacy, quick pharmacy, or UCPMP, a session before that, or direct to patient. We have to live with it. The goals may be shifting every 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, or maybe Sir said in 5 years I can see a stricter norm. So I see as a friend, because either you are there or somebody else will going to eat it. So I would see that as an opportunity, as a marketer who's sitting here, a quick commerce, I see it as it will get the entire distribution layer disrupted. From the next, I don't know, my personal prediction, in the next 3 years or 4 years, the entire distributor layer will be out. And it will be played by big players with a great bargaining power, and they will let us know how much to manufacture, what price to manufacture. That has happened in US. It is coming in India as well. So I see it as a friend. So as a marketer sitting out here, I will make myself agile. I'll be ready for it. And my colleagues out there in UCPMP, they also said that it is there. We have to adapt as a culture rather than looking at it as a foe, rather than looking at it, karna kya hai, kaise karenge, aap batao, karna kya hai. I would rather accept it. I will abide by it because that's the best way to move forward. I think that's my view from that lens.
Perfect. Friend. Well, friend, but we need, you didn't say I want to be a friend. You say it's happening, right? Let's do not go against. Let's learn. Let's adapt. It's here to stay, right? Perfect.
Yeah, so thank you, Pharma State, for having me. And as the saying is, a rich man's jokes are always funny. In this case, a white man's presentation always looks more insightful than ours. If the same presentation somebody else would have. So Oscar's a great guy. I just know him for 30 minutes now. I think I can, there is one context which Oscar has laid out, and it's a very good template. All of us can follow that. Putting some perspective to it is, let's say, for example, I strongly believe personally, if anybody tells something, what's your say-do ratio? Or have you done it? Or what's your belief? You may not necessarily have done it, but what's your belief in that? So when I look India as a country, and either you can be a dinosaur or you adapt and move. And somewhere I feel all of it will happen. And I can give you our own example. I work with a company which markets brand called Cetaphil. Now, Cetaphil is, we meet HCPs, we are on air, we are on digital, we are on Insta, we are on e-com. So we do it. And for us, it's like every 3 months there is something new coming and we have to adapt and we move forward. And fortunately, we are looking at setting examples for this. So a long story short, I mean, they are friends. Only word of caution from my side would be the regulatory and the compliance part of it, how well we are adapting to it. Because my life has always been multinational, so all of us, the joke within the system is that when you go home, sometimes you tell your wife, wifey, or be very careful as to what you say. So that's the compliance lens we use always. So that's the only thing we need to be careful of. Otherwise, if you don't, you'll be a dinosaur, is what I would put it this way.
Exactly. I like that one. If you don't accept it, you will disappear probably. Okay? Exactly. Okay. I'm going to share now something on the screen about, say, before the old world and the new era. Okay? And I want you to think about something about how do you see the evolution, okay, of an Indian market here in India. But from this perspective, one, again, to you, very, very tactical. So as in, I'm sitting there and say, okay, after a decade or 2 or 3 you've been working, your experience, tell me about my role, my skills, what mindset do I need, what I need to study, to prepare, to do. And I'm going to share you this, which is a very simplistic, right, which is, in the old days, maybe the old days was 5-10 years ago only, okay, it was all about relationship building, right? Strong interpersonal skills, event-heavy marketing, product knowledge, sales expertise. Well, in this new era, we're talking about data analytics, omni-channel, you mentioned compliance, ethics, adaptation, because every single week something happens in the market, right? So I want you're looking at this, and of course it's a simplistic explanation. The reality is probably in intersection. Again, something with you again, maybe it's tips.
I think I'll
specific tips.
Yeah, I'll make it very quick. So see, while have been a brand manager, I can always say that I was lucky. I started my brand management days would have been 2000, 2003, 4. I was very lucky because you had a certain templatized version of a lot of things and you could get away with it. If you execute it well, you get elevated, or your brand does well and you get promoted. But today I really feel slightly pity for the brand teams, because it's like you need to know everything. Your prediction should be as close as whether it will rain or no, you should know. So, with that in mind, I would only say look at it as don't restrict yourself as a brand manager. I would say look at yourself as a business manager. How much more you can contribute to the organization, whether it is in terms of a market share or whether it is in terms of bottom line, whether it is in terms of patient acquisition or whether it is in some of a new business venture. So you will not be able to survive if you just go with the traditional ways of working. So business manager is your lens, if I would put it this way.
I like that one. From a brand manager, you open up as a business manager, you can bring more value to the company, and your thinking, what you need to be trained, it changes. What about your vision?
Absolutely. So I'll also take up those times, when Viju and I had been brand managers, so those times are very simplified.
So I don't think I'm as young as he is. I like the compliment still.
So those times are very, very perfect. But rightly said by him, so right now we may have to look business in a different lens altogether. You are no more a brand manager. I remember my boss asking me, MRP pata hai tujhe? What is the GSM tujhe pata hai? What is the size of the pack? Those are things which were there. But right now I think the rules have changed. it's completely a collaborative ecosystem. I may have to look into multiple departments. I may have to look at other alternate partners as well, because I don't know which is the competitive industry which is going to make me completely irrelevant in this category. Because yesterday I was reading some chip which is come in. We just have to place it. It is on a monthly rental basis. It will elevate your stress to 50%. And that will completely crash the market of stress completely. So I was thinking the pills and the tablets and everything will be futile, because a person has to just put a small microchip, microneedle chip which is there on a monthly rental of merely $2,000. So that's going to happen. So that's the area where we have to keep seeing other categories also. So which are the categories which are all the alternate systems, technologies, which are actively working on this foray. So from the skill side, you're no more a brand manager which only sees a IQVIA data or a SMSRC data. You're only restricted to certain analytics. You may have to also go a little bit beyond other data points, which will give you some ideas of how the brands and what are the new things which are coming in. So I totally take his point. I think this new skills are needed.
Very aligned. And on top of that, what I'd like to say is, because I think we tend all to stereotype a little bit, simplify, because if I'm not wrong, you're one of the biggest pharma companies. Now you're working, example of national. You're working in an international and a multinational company, mid-size. Yeah. You come from Abbott or Abbott, which is a huge multi. So my question here is, okay, if I'm sitting there too, okay, maybe I'm not big, I'm in a small pharma. Maybe I'm a multinational, maybe I'm a national. How different is the life of a pharma marketeer there? Well, not how different, because they know how different. Is what is your recommendation to them?
So I can take that from a lens of 2.5 years ago. Most of the smart kids here, I see they were with me in Abbott. I see Kedar, I see a lot of Soumyan and all. So large organization, large multinational, has its own ways of working. Stakeholder management would be key. Getting your project through persuasion skills would be extremely strong. Versus I now work a relatively smaller company. Agility is the key here. Changing, how do you adapt yourself to the changing scenario? But one thing I feel extremely strong as whether you're a marketing head or even a sales head or a brand head, is who's sticking his neck out on this. See, we tend to go by the principle of it will not work in my organization, my boss will never understand this, my company is not like this, we can't even think about something like this. Somebody's got to stick his neck out. And that to me is the brand manager or the head of marketing. Ideally the brand manager, because I come from a very strong philosophy. Whether it is a small company or a big company, nobody knows the brand more than the brand manager. And it should not be the case, because the brand manager's word should be the final. That's ownership. And once you believe in that, yes, there will be challenges. Yes, companies will have its own ways of working. Yes, we always work in multinational and we tend to complain that Indian companies have a certain different way of working. They have, decision making is sooner than us. Yeah, fine. I think that's the price you pay working with a large organization or a multinational. So I feel somebody's got to stick his neck out and drive the agenda forward.
And I like the analogy as the brand manager. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're big, small, left or right. Yeah. The brand manager is the gatekeeper of the brand of the company.
Yes.
I like that one.
I strongly feel that.
I want to change gears now. And actually, that's for both, but I will start here. I'm going to share with you and with the audience a number of trends, okay, that is impacting pharma and a pharma marketeer. And I want you to pick one of them, the one that you feel it has the capacity to change, whether it's an opportunity or there is a threat, okay? Keep it for you because I'm going to ask you the same question, but specifically the implications for the audience, okay? I'll let you there, I'll let you, the audience, you got their 3D printing, aging population, which in India is different from the rest of the world. You got the revenue structure reforming of the future of healthcare, Internet Medical of Things, AI for medical training, for drug development, for automating tasks, synthetic medical data. Of course, there are more. But I want you to pick one. Which one would you go for?
So since the room is filled of at least 70% of product managers and marketing, I'll pick up AI automating tasks because I see a lot of opportunity in product manager utilizing AI. There are a lot of AI-based technology which is available where you can make an LBL within 5 minutes. You can make the content generated FAQs within 5 minutes. You can create any visual aids based on data, interpreting the data of whether you want to use IQVIA, whether you want to use any data points. It will give you those patient profiles which you need to target within 5 to 10 minutes if you know the art of putting the prompt properly. So I feel that AI automating tasks in product relevant to product management. So this is an audience which is more of marketeer, so I'll restrict that because that's an area where product managers has to utilize that. They can really take that use of AI in a next level.
Perfect.
Because or else somebody else will take it out.
How many product managers, brand managers we have, marketeers? Okay, most of them. And what about all the others? Okay, are you in the right room? Okay, does it resonate with you? Yes? Yes? Raise your hand if it's a yes. Okay, it's a yes, they're connected. What about you?
See, I would put the, I'm just picking up this, not aging population or young population, I would put the patient or the consumer at the center. And then all of this will fall in place as to how best you want to add value to their life. Because once you look at, let's say in the space right now, I'm in the space of skincare. I address to both the group. I have a younger set of patients who are struggling with acne and want to look good, and it impacts quality of life. I have a slightly younger professional like you and me who want to look good, who are into aesthetics, injectable aesthetics. I have an aging population who doesn't want to age. So I would put the consumer stroke the patient at the center, and whichever tool helps you increase your value proposition with them is good for you. Because like Oscar said, each of it is a one-day workshop or one-day assessment program. But I think every organization today is looking at how are you increasing your value towards the patient, thereby increasing your bottom line. So with this, whatever is cost effective, whatever is best for your patient stroke consumer care, I think go for that. I don't think,
Customer-centric.
Yep.
Customer centricity.
Yep.
Absolutely. Okay, let's move on. Let's again change gears again. Okay, you mentioned stay here regulatory before. Yep. I want you to play crystal balling. Okay, we start with as a question for the two of you.
I think
predict. We'll see what's going to happen. Predict in 5 years from now. What's going to happen?
So I strongly see this getting stricter by the day. Whether it is with HCPs, when I say with HCPs means HCPs abiding by the rules and regulations, or whether it is companies marketing or promoting brands to them, it is going to be getting stricter by the day, and we are facing every other day there's new regulation, something new coming up. And does that mean we give up? No, we navigate. See, I strongly believe in a principle like if you give up, again, you are a dinosaur. So this will keep changing, Oscar. I see every government is going stricter on this. They want the code of conduct to be implemented strictly. Multinationals have always been, and today I'm proud to say that many large Indian companies are abiding by this. They're taking it very seriously, and because everyone knows that it's going to change.
I remember in countries where I'm Spanish, so in Spain, in Portugal, we always say this regulatory, it will never go to strict. It will never work with our people. Same in China, same in Brazil. Guess what? It's happening. It's happening. There's no way of return.
And a country like India, I strongly feel, because like you said, the world's looking up to you. You can't have two different India when it comes to patient centricity or HCP interactions.
Correct.
So it will be stricter
Correct.
by the day. No, that's one.
What about your view on that?
I think beautifully said by the previous session. I think all the council members who are there, they made it very clear. You are creating a level playing field, India versus rest of the world. And if you want to aim for around being a Viksit Bharat or the center pharma, the pharmacy of the world, you may have to create a level playing field. Correct. So with this new UCPMP norms coming at par with your Sunshine Act, that's going to be a place where I'm also expecting that going forward, all Indian companies, whether it is SMEs or large firms or MNC, all come at one level and come that the entire compliance standards are equivalent to across the globe, cutting across. So there are no borders, everywhere it is the same UCPMP norms which has been followed. Whether it is called sunshine there or in India, it is called as UCPMP.
Correct.
So it's there. And I beautifully said by the previous session that this is coming. It's nothing but hard framework or punitive or penalty. It is as a culture we need to accept, we need to adapt, and we need to create. The marketeer sitting in this room has to create that level playing field wherein we are dreaming to become big. So at least get your level playing field matching up with the Sunshine Act.
So you're saying it's happening. Stop complaining. Okay, get used to it and try to overcome. Try to be creative. Try to do your thing and be centric, client-centric again. Great. Look, I'm going to do a similar exercise now on trends, but now on marketing trends. Only on marketing trends, okay? And I want you to pick one. Again, the one that you feel it has a higher impact on their lives, okay? So I got influencer marketing, fast video, AI, data privacy, omnichannel, sponsorship, as a new models of a sponsorship, patient communities, awards strategy, there are more, but what would be the one that you feel has the most power? Or it's a big problem? Who wants to go first?
I will pick up right now. See, as a business head, or whenever we're looking at business,
Your mic.
you have a lens of a short term, mid term, and the long term. So here I'll be a little short term stroke mid term, which is again, let's say I will pick omnichannel and influencer. Omnichannel I will pick because in India today, if you look at, there are two very clear, let's say from brands perspective, things emerging out. You have legacy brands and you have the new introductions that you've always grappled with to build them. Legacy brands are like, the bosses want it to be there because it feeds the organization's bottom line, it gives you that kind of a stability, it gives you that kind of a presence in the marketplace. And the new ones are the ones, because of that legacy brand, these ones never come up. So it's a marketer's decision as to how you want to work on the legacy brand, and that's where omni-channel fits in very well. Influencer marketing, I'm picking up purely from a dermatologist lens right now, because in the category that I operate in right now, everybody with a camera and thinks who looks good or looks good starts giving gyan on skincare. This is where we feel that a dermatologist is the best person to give you knowledge on that. And that's how we kind of connect with them, collaborate with them to give the right knowledge on skincare. So they themselves are very strong influencers, and I'm sure most of you are aware of that. So that's where, not to say that influencers we don't use, we use them as well. Those who have a very known credibility in the marketplace, we use those. So I would put, from a growth engine point of view, I would choose influencer marketing, whether it is HCP or strong influencers. But at the same time, for a brand's life cycle management window, I would choose omni-channel for the right.
Perfect.
Now this is from a short and mid term. Long term, both of us, like you said, we don't know where we'll be. So
but like what? There's no one size fits all, right? Is it for what?
It's never.
Correct.
It has to be depending on the category and the brand.
What about you?
So I may not be picking up any of these ones, the listed ones which are there, because this is happening.
You don't like my slide.
So I have a different perspective. So here I feel that people upskilling and reskilling is much needed in that space, because all of these will be driven by people. And I can't find people in that piece, because that's one area we all need to look at, whether it is our rep, whether it is our product managers, whether it is the team who is handling the patients. So that's one area we need to look at, because those are the ones who want to build in humanness and emotional connect to all of these.
I agree. Actually, we have a question at the very end on that note. Changing gears. In the world, we see India as a cost advantage, not the value proposition, but the cost advantage is the thing. On top of that, a huge market, right? So my question on cost advantage is, so what? You have a cost advantage. So what? What's the impact on, I'll give you an example. In any industry where there's a cost advantage, automatically there's an increase in competition, right? Crazy competition at a local level. But I'm thinking what are the ripple effects, the domino effect, the so what for the audience, okay? So Indian companies has this cost advantage, so what?
So from a multinational lens, I can always say that they have a cost advantage, and this is where I think George and me would have a very clear different line of thinking. Yes, Indian companies have a strong cost advantage, and they play in the game of access versus most of the times multinationals believe in the philosophy of premiumization, and that's where we get our value from. We may not be very strong in access, but we're very strong in the value proposition the brand or the category offers, and premiumization is that we play on. Having said, I will not say that when India has a cost advantage, it doesn't help multinational. Definitely access, like in my life, I started as Brufen. I mean, so the kind of price control category it was in, our game there was also to mass. But the best advantage when you talk about India has a cost is about the access that it gives to patients.
Perfect.
Patient care, whether it is multinational or Indian company, the patient care is at the prime.
The end
business
user.
model may be different, but it's the patient care that comes as a huge advantage.
Perfect.
So I agree. So most of my life I've been working with Indian companies or big Indian giants. So I'll take a small quote what Mr. Hamid from Cipla had said, that what's the point of innovation when nobody can afford it?
Correct.
So that's where Indian companies start playing in the field, because you may have many generic in the similar pricing, but the difference would be, like he beautifully said, the access and the kind of affinity of the reps which are there. That makes the competition, makes service better. So the service and what he said in the patient engagement. So one of the best companies today I would like to quote is the Cipla. The way they engage the patient, each part of their journey, from the screening, diagnosis, till the last mile, they are always there with the patient. So that's an amazing journey. They're beautifully companies, Indian companies have crafted at playing at that price point. So you'll go and find their price points are very economical. They can't even compete to even Indian MNCs, but they know where to play, and they know how to give value innovations to their same product which they're offering. It's just like you have an Hertz in India, you have a taxi in India, but can you offer a Uber and a Ola in between? So somewhere in both.
Correct. So
we are taking care of the price, we are taking care of the promise of quality. Both of them are coming at a price.
perfect.
So it is maintained there.
Perfect. Look, if you recall, I shared with you a chart where you saw, which is happening everywhere, impacting more India. Remember that? Tech, patients, right? I simplify the chart, okay, and I want you to pick one quadrant. And again, explain what's in it for them. What would be a recommendation for tomorrow morning, okay? And remember, there is tech, integrated pharma, patient-centric growth at the bottom. You've got the Indian reality and similar to the rest of the world. And of course, AI impacting all of us, okay? The Indian reality, I want to focus on tier 2 and beyond access, rural areas, etc., okay? I stay in patient communities and Q-commerce, as in Zepto, Swiggy, Flipkart, all the stuff, okay? I want you to start here. Pick one. And explain why and the impact.
So again, I will go from my, as marketers, all of us know that these are dependent on multiple factors: brand, life cycle, category, portfolio, where you are, what's the philosophy. But now he's asking me to pick one. I would pick the quick commerce one, not because of the terminology written there, but I am taking that quadrant as innovation, future-led, future-ready organization, being agile, being open to change. I'm reading that quadrant as that, and not just by quick commerce. Quick commerce is just one part of it. And that also, it's a moving part. So I'm picking that quadrant from that lens. if I were managing a brand which is a very price, let's say not price sensitive category, but it's mass brand, I would pick tier 2 because that's my growth lever. That will be my growth lever. But right now I'm picking this one from the simple reason I operate in a premium category, and that's where I would want to engage and deploy my resources into.
And also we're playing here. I'm forcing you to pick one, and we all know here that the reality is more complex.
Also comes from the context that he said I'm also part of the organizer, so.
Yeah,
I said, okay.
Exactly. I decide well, I'm not. I've been told by Swati and Samir what to do here, how to dress, etc.
So one very interesting point, I'll pick up this tier 2 and beyond access, because that's a place where till now nobody is able to crack it. Everybody is saying we have a great rural strategy, they will increase their field force, but I think not many companies are able to crack it.
I think
So
we discussed that. This is the first time I have to counter. It's not. There are Indian companies who have done the game very well. It depends on, George, the productivity expectation that you have versus a multinational lens. So if I have the liberty to talk, I don't know much, like Mankind has a very strong model. They have been successful from there and they've come to the metros. With due respect, Alchem also has a very strong, Cipla has. The question always comes is, what's the productivity per man you are comfortable with? So a company could be comfortable with a productivity of 300,000 rupees versus a company who operates in a premium space may not be comfortable with even 800 to 900,000 rupees. So that's the comfort level is what access gives you. So my point was only that,
So I buy that. So I buy that point, but I would like to also add to it, but still many have not been able to fully crack it. Like I said, is right. There is a break-even cost which is involved into it, and that's a company has to decide, the company to company. But so I'll give you a case scenario. So I was in Lucknow. You have go to 50 kilometers inside. There's a place called Tang. So there you go and meet ASHA workers. Now ASHA workers are government-led workers who support the entire therapy or disease management. Over there, you'll find many of the FMCG-led programs have been driven by ASHA workers. Driven by. Over there, I can't find any one pharma companies leveraging this ASHA worker who takes care of 50 families or 60 families in the same village. If I could leverage that ASHA worker, because they want access, because ASHA worker gets 3,000 rupees for managing one TB patient, 6 months. So 500 per visit, one pregnancy wala, there is a 250 rupees per visit. She has to take it to a PHC. But none of the pharma companies have been able to crack that model. So there are some companies already started working, but still a long way to go, wherein we can leverage this ASHA workers also penetrate more deeply into the rural markets, which I was feeling. Then we can get that quantum productivity, because there's I think great case study where we are also studying how we can leverage this ASHA workers and other foundation members where we can get into deep interiors and try to increase the market. So that's a market where it's a gold mine.
And again, we are simplifying reality. We know there's other levers at play. Look, we're going to close. And before that, I would like you to for me, this is more. If I have 3 kids, right? If one of them says, you know what, I want to be a brand manager. First of all, I don't know if I will tell him or her, I have a boy and a girl, yes, do it, go for it. Or I'll tell you, don't. Change job or move to another industry. But if these are our kids, right? And they were asking you, hey, Dad, what are the key attributes, okay, of a brand manager in this changing scenario? So don't go for the 20-minute speech, okay, but go for the 2-3 attributes and why.
So first I will say, don't be one. Okay. A quick answer to that is because today, again, it's become slightly more domain expertise-led business. So if you are a digital specialist, you have a very clear line of job carved out for you. If you are a data analyst, it's a very clear line. And all this, somebody senior will manage. So if you have to do that, look at it, what I said earlier also, look at business in toto. Be a business manager. look at all the avenues you are able to drive. You need to have very strong stakeholder management skills. You need to have very strong negotiation skills, persuasion skills. Softer skills will be more important because that's where no AI can replace. Because basic common sense, you'll always have it. So that will be required with a sharp focus on what is the business or the value you are adding to the portfolio or to the organization. That's all, because today, global markets, you don't even need an MBA to be a brand manager. Very soon it will happen in India as well. You need is application and smartness to move.
Perfect.
And I say that with clear conviction that today if I am looking at a brand manager, I'm not looking at the college she's coming from. I'm not looking at what brand their person has managed. I'm looking at attitude and application and the mindset and the agility to change. That's all I am looking at.
So more into the mindset, the attitude, rather than the CV per se.
I never ask anyone, I mean, some of them are here in this group, I never ask what you've done. Tell me the bad time you faced and what have you done then.
Perfect.
That's
like that.
Everything comes out then.
I like that.
Just one line, I think be a lifelong student. I think that's it, because I believe brand managers were there long years back. They will continue to be there going forward as well. They will be agile, they will evolve. So I am with them. As long as you have that agility of like being a lifelong student, that's it. Because you keep learning, because even just one line, because I saw that there's an ad which keeps coming in your Facebook, 99 rupees, learn the Excel, master your skills in Excel, AI. I think, I don't know how many of our product managers who will go and, chalo Raj, invest 3 hours and let's do it. So I would be in that mode that I'll keep investing. I personally have done that. I keep learning right now. Also, I'm trying to learn prompt engineering. So I would request, even at my level, if I'm doing it, I would request my team also, or my colleagues who are there in this room, please invest time in reskilling yourself. That fundamentals of Kotler, with all due respect of Kotlers and everything, will be there unless until you don't adapt to these newer things which will keep coming. Because this will keep changing. Now it is human to human, H to H marketing. It is here to stay.
As Alvin Toffler says, it's all about learning, unlearning, and relearning, because we are in front of a changing scenario. Let's give them a big round of applause.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Oscar.
So much, Oscar. Thank you so much, Mr. Nair. And thank you so much, Mr. Verghese, for such an engaging session. Salil Kalyanpur to felicitate our esteemed guests here.